Mittens was a petite gray cat with a white patch on her nose and a soft, curious purr that seemed to ask 1,000 questions. She lived with a kind elderly man named Mr. Oliver in a small cottage at the edge of a forest. Life was simple and predictable, just the way Mittens liked it. Every morning, Mittens would follow Mr. Oliver into the garden as he tended to his vegetable patches and bird feeders. She loved lounging in the sun, left watching the sparrows and robins flit about. But Mittens knew her boundaries. The birds never stayed if she got too close. One chilly autumn morning, as Mittens basked on the stone wall by the garden, she noticed something unusual. A small bird with bright yellow feathers lay in the grass, barely moving. Mittens tilted her head, her tail swishing. She leapt gracefully from the wall and approached the bird, her steps careful and deliberate. The bird chirped weakly, flapping one wing while the other hung limp. Mittens sat beside it, her green eyes narrowing with concern. Instead of her usual playful curiosity, she stayed still, watching the fragile creature. After a moment, she gently nudged it with her nose. "Mittens, what have you found there?" Mr. Oliver called as he approached with a watering can. When he saw the bird, he knelt down, his face softening. "Oh, poor thing. It must have hurt its wing." He carefully scooped up the bird, cradling it in his large hands. "Let's see what we can do," he said, carrying it inside. Mittens followed, her tail high and her purrs steady. Over the next few days, Mr. Oliver cared for the bird, wrapping its wing and keeping it in a small, warm box by the kitchen window. Mittens became its silent guardian, sitting beside the box and watching over it. The bird chirped more each day, and Mittens would respond with her softest meow, as if they were having a conversation. When the day came to release the bird, Mittens and Mr. Oliver stood together in the garden. The bird hesitated, looking back at Mittens before taking flight. It soared high, its yellow feathers bright against the autumn sky. From that day on, the bird often returned, perching on the garden fence and chirping at Mittens. The two had formed an unspoken bond, proving that kindness knows no bounds, even between the most unlikely of friends.